passed so briefly? Were you actually compassionate and a sense of love and respect? And then we'll add whatever needed to be forgive. And in that forgiving, it opened the space for your knowing, to know. What is it that we wish to know? What is our truth? And not what is the truth that arises from our thinking, because most of the time it is misguided, diluted, and fraught with pitfalls. Were you able to bring forth a feeling of kindness and compassion and love, a true feeling of forgiveness, and a true feeling of respect, starting with yourself? Did you engage in gossip? I hope not. When you went about for your walk, were you mindful and aware? Or if you conversed with a friend, someone who needed to hear from you, and by doing so, as it said earlier, by the fact of engaging in the practice with the motivation and the intent to be of benefit to others, we don't necessarily, the phrase of drowning in one's sorrow, but within the midst of sorrow or mystery or sadness or fear, that you're able to rise up the other and to bring yourself up with just a simple act of kindness. It may have been, hello, how are you doing today? I was thinking of you. Oh, you were thinking of me. You can hear maybe a change in the inflection of their vocal quality that tells you they were glad to hear from you. Perhaps even they needed to hear from you. Before the day is out, if you haven't reached out to someone with kindness and compassion and love, do so. They are waiting to hear from you. And as I said, more than likely, they need to hear from you. And perhaps there are other people who know that just as His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and then many other Grampas that I've already been in contact with are doing various practices for the benefit of all sentient beings throughout all of time and space, wherever they may exist. So to begin this session, again, it was saying it's not just to think about arousing these aspects, but feeling that from your heart space, that these qualities are radiating out from within and filling all of space. So thinking about the body, the speech, the mind, the navel center, which I say knowledge and wisdom, to cleanse, to purify, to be blessed, to transform, and to liberate. In the 7-point position of Varachana, take a breath in, please. Breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in. Breathing out. And breathing in. 3 times out. Hold that breath out. Now gently breathe in through the nose. And with a ha sound, release out. Then thinking in terms of the secondary systems, the nadis. So cleansing basically of the body, speech, and mind. And now cleansing of the nadis, smaller channels. Stabilizing of the 3 main channels. Cleansing and purifying the 5 predominant chakra spaces, and opening the channels of the legs and the channels of the arms all the way to the fingertips and to the toes. So with the hands resting on the knees now, we'll call Vajra fist, baby fist. Breathe in, come up to the heart, draw up, breathe in. and then out. And again. One more time. With the hands just resting on the knees. Then to focus on cleansing and stabilizing the winds of the right channel, the left channel, the center channel, if one knows. Then we say Om Ah Ah Yi Yi U U Ri Ri Li Li Hi Hi O Ah Nga Nga. Gaga Gaga Nga Zata Zatanya Tata Tatana Tata Tatana Tata Tatana Baba Baba Ma Yawala Wa Ja Mone Dharma Hitu Parava Hitu Tagata Haya Wata Taginsa Yunurova Yevamene Maha Samanaso. Then we just bless our beads. Vajra Samaya Za Bam Ho Ritsa Ramani Bhava Daye Soha. So again, I bless the Pumpa. Vajra Samaya Za Bam Ho Bhadra Amrita Kundale Hanna Om De. So in the blessing of the beads, then you blow on them, and we've invited the enlightened qualities of all the Buddhas to descend and into the water, and it's as though each molecule is infused now with this aspect. So if we were in a gathering all together, then the chopins would pass around, come around with the pumpa, and put in your hand, pour a little bit on the head or touch the head, and then this would signify that you're cleansing within the body, speech, and mind. Assuming the 7-point position of Varachana again, resting in the hands in the mudra of the Bodhisattva, or the mudra of equanimity, that you check that the back is straight, the neck extending up, head with a slight releasing of the chin toward the clavicle notch. Do not bend forward, but just articulate slightly down a little bit. The eyes look toward the tip of the nose and beyond, merely to establish an angle. The teeth are slightly separated and the lips are gently touching together. Lift the tongue up into the roof of the mouth in back of the ridge of the front 2 teeth. Soften the chest and allow the air in the upper chest to settle down and fill the abdominal area, again, as though you've taken on a shape of a small baby just sitting naturally on the floor. The shoulders release, not forward or back, and the arms create space. It says the arms like that of the wings of a vulture. So the wings are away from the body of the vulture so it can breathe. We don't hold too tight or too far out, just hanging naturally. And then as you breathe in, sit in stillness. Breathing in through the upper channels of the nose, evenly in the left and right, and evenly out. With mindfulness, meaning I'm paying attention to what I am about to do. I'm paying attention to what I am doing. Mindfulness and awareness. So you slowly breathe in, slowly breathe out, mindfulness and awareness, sitting in stillness with the intent and the motivation that I do so to arrive at the recognition, which is ever present, of calm and clear. So the calm and clear state of one's own mind. And for the next, again, we'll take 10 minutes to establish this ground. Again, as we make our journey into the enlightened mandala. And we think that this enlightened mandala, this geometrical configuration within time and space, is nowhere else other than within our own self. This very body, this very speech, this very mind, at its primordial ground, its essence is these qualities. Its nature is its ability to express. And its action is when these aspects intersect together and come forth for the benefit of others. For the next 10 minutes, whatever arises in your mind, do not suppress it. Whatever stays in terms of your thoughts, concepts, sensations, etc., don't examine. And when they move away like clouds in the sky or smoke from the incense rising into the space, don't follow or chase after them. Just rest your mind. And again, before you move, really draw the eyes up to the horizontal plane and take a moment. How is my body, my speech and breath, my mind? How is my heart, my emotions? Viewing them as being interconnected, one. And as you look out, you are aware of what you see, but do not grasp at the dream of what you see. Recognize it as just an illusion that is seen, relatively existing, but ultimately empty. And so the same for what you're hearing, smell, taste, and tactile sensations. Even the outer awareness of what we call this reality is but a dream, existing through cause, circumstances, and conditions, but its true nature unseen. Its primordial ground of emptiness. Arising, do not cling. Wake up the six gates of perception and recognize them in and of themselves as the objects that have the ability to perceive, that are aware of what is perceived. Who is the perceiver? This perceiver called mind, when looked for, cannot be found. But to say it cannot be found or does not exist would be foolish when we are quite aware of this existence. But then we define and categorize, conceptualize, and we lose its pure nature, and we cascade down into those qualities of ignorance and desire and anger and grasping and seizing, etc. And thus our suffering arises for ourselves and for others. In this moment, let go. I know I am dreaming. I awaken from the dream. But that doesn't negate the fact that the dream is perceived. It's a double edge. The knower is the creator of the dream, but do not forget that you, the knower, has created the dream. If that is the case, then perhaps with the proper motivation, the proper intent, that one can direct the state of dreaming with compassion and love, kindness, joyousness, and equanimity. So it becomes a wonderful, joyous dream, doesn't it? As opposed to the nightmare in which we find ourselves. As a small child, I would digress for a moment. I was very aware of my dreams. And I always had that classic dream, like a Hitchcock movie, running up a sand hill, trying to escape the monster. And the more you try to go up the hill, the more you would slide back down toward Yama's mouth. And then I finally figured it out. In order to escape the monster, all I had to do was wake up. So I would wake up and I'd laugh and go, ha ha, you missed me. So I learned how to escape from the monster in my dream. So again, we're in the midst of a monster and we are dreaming. It's time to wake up. Create a different dream. Again, we might think it's just dreaming to think we could have a community, a culture, a society that was based on kindness. But I think we are starting to see that when you go out and about, at least for a while, wherever you went, you could smile at someone and they would smile at you. And maybe they were holding to the protocol of distance and wearing their mask and washing their hands. Some simple things, not asking too much. the kindness of doing it for yourself and the kindness of doing it for others. But to remain vigilant with the discipline and the moral ethics to do so gets eroded in time because of our own inner laziness, which we disguise as so many different reasons. It's inconvenient, it's not going to affect me, or just basically I don't care and don't want to do it. All of these ways, good, bad, or indifferent, will have their said results. So continue on this little text that I found in Northern Scotland. Let me explain what we mean by compassion. Usually, our concept of compassion or love refers to the feeling of closeness we have with our friends and loved ones. Sometimes compassion also carries a sense of pity. This is wrong. Any love or compassion which entails looking down on the other is not genuine compassion. This is my feeling today also. I'll say once again, all lives are precious, and not one of them be pitied or used as justification for the actions of another. To be genuine, compassion must be based on respect for the other and on the realization that others have the right to be happy and overcome suffering just as much as you or we do. On this basis, since you can see that others are suffering, you develop a genuine sense of concern for them. Do we have this concern for others? Do we have this concern for ourselves? That's the question I ask me. I ask myself. So therefore, I ask you, do you have genuine concern that is real, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable compassion? Because I was just reading, and again, to just mumble about without having a strong foundation doesn't make sense. And I was reading during the break about this immeasurable compassion. And I'm sure I won't be able to find it now, so I will tell you briefly. When it says immeasurable compassion, it doesn't, we think sometimes it means the vastness of the compassionate nature or loving kind nature. Immeasurable also translate as the great impartiality. Immeasurable compassion for everyone without any differentiation. And doing this, we don't differentiate what color they are, what gender they are, what preferences they may have, social, economical, political. If we are grading, I have compassion because of this, this is not immeasurable. It is tainted with discriminatory ignorance and desire and anger. As it was just saying by His Holiness, we have compassion, as I asked you earlier, loving kindness and compassion for those that are near, that and dear, but those whom are our enemy and far, we don't have the same compassion. And we are asked to develop that time of sameness, that type of immeasurable compassion, not limited compassion. And when you talk like this, and I've been in grouping where people go, yeah, that sounds great, but that's not for me. Well, if it is not, then what is for you? Is what we have now for you? Do we enjoy what we have created? And I guess maybe for some, it is okay. I don't think it's okay. And I would like to think, just starting with myself, we could do better. We have an opportunity to rise up and do better. It doesn't matter what ism one happens to be. This is about humanism, human beingism, to be a good-hearted human being. And as I sit among my various texts, I can always find something that is pertinent to what's rambling in my small mind. Several years ago, Nimala and Lama and myself, we were in northern Thailand. We were invited as guests of Khenpo Sodiga or Sodige, Sotaji Rinpoche, to achieve by doing. It is our actions that take us up or take us down. So he starts off saying, try to be an honest and kind person. The more you harm others with harsh words, the more hateful you will become. And you will emit an unpleasant air around you. Your journey in life will become more difficult because of it. Through our hateful attitudes, our hateful words, and our hateful actions, that we see it compounding as suffering that is descending upon us like a veil. I read earlier in the first session, we used the word, it is our attitude. And I, again, remember growing up in Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and when someone says, it looks like you need an attitude adjustment, that wasn't a good thing, to have your attitude adjusted. Maybe some of you know, you need a little attitude adjustment. Anyway, we need an attitude adjustment because our attitude in some quarters is foul and the air smells. And not until we change our attitude does our actions change. When our actions change in terms of relationship to our behaviors, then our reality can change. Without starting from within oneself, how can there be any real change? Some people have a habit to criticize others with extreme, nasty words, and we see this quite prevalent these days. They are irrational under all circumstances and tend to spew verbal abuse without bothering to check the facts. This Rinpoche must really have understood the nature and the character of the present situation. Their motto is to open fire first. Other things can be dealt with later. Particularly nowadays, the use of abusive, abrasive language on the internet has become more pervasive. Some people indulge in, like he says, they indulge in web carnage all day long and even consider it their privilege and calling. I have heard this recently. I have a privilege to say what I'm saying because, granted, you're free to say whatever you feel like. But the more you harm others verbally, the more hateful you become, and you will emit an unpleasant, I'm going to say, odor around you. Your journey in life will become more difficult because of it. Then the Venerable Hashem said, loose talk precipitates misfortune. Malice intent produce calamity. So I think we see these things pretty clearly at this point in time. Then the last one. As for the closeness we feel toward our friends, this is usually more like attachment than compassion. Generally, or genuine compassion should be unbiased. If we only feel close to our friends and not to our enemies, or to the countless people who are unknown to us personally and toward whom we are indifferent, then our compassion is only partial or biased and limited. And again, we see this exhibited because we don't fully understand or wish to explore deeper what is compassion, or what is loving kindness. What is compassion? So we just say, what is to be kind? To be kind in this sense is to have a genuine feeling. May each and every one of you have happiness. May each and every sentient being have happiness, the cause of happiness, the result of a causality that brings happiness, and never be separated from it. Do you have this? I'm going to assume that you do. Each and every one of us, at least we have the aspiration, and we are engaging in the application to further its development. Then compassion. Compassion doesn't mean you have pity for one group because of this or that or the other. Compassion is having genuine feeling. May not one sentient being suffer or have the cause of suffering. May they be separated from the result of that which brings suffering. This is our wish, the kindness of happiness and the compassion of the liberation from suffering. Again, do you have this? And when I say you, meaning I'm asking, do I have this quality genuinely? Not totally. Still trying to work on it in my small, feeble, fragile heart. Open your heart. That's immeasurable. The immeasurable opening of one's heart to have this feeling for all sentient beings in whatever category you might want to place them. So this is what real practice is, to open and give oneself, not to stuff ourselves with a lot of intellectual conceptualization about the topic, which doesn't necessarily bring about direct experience. Without direct experience that is arising from engaging in practice, there is no true knowledge. And if there's no true knowledge, then wisdom cannot arise. We have many knowledge-based approaches, but the wisdom is flawed because the progenitor of the creation is flawed. That is us. I'm talking to me. I'm sure you are much more further developed, I hope. And therefore, with that type of hope, there will be change. Take a breath in, please, and we'll start where we began. In the last session, we have to keep inputting again and again and again because we are so well practiced in the other way. It is so easy to be inconsiderate and prejudiced and angry and all of the other cascading type of negative emotions. We can just like that, you flare up. Why just like that you can't laugh? Just like that, be smiling. Just like that, like a small child, lay down on the floor, throw your arms and just make funny sounds, jump up and run around. I know some of you doing that. You can't wait. I know one person, she can't wait to go do this. Run around in the open fields and just throw herself up and do somersaults, something like that. So when you say again, most precious, what is precious to you? Sometimes, I don't know, we don't have anything that is really precious, something that we give our blood for, we give our heart to. So when I can see picture, I'm going to see teacher, I feel so blessed. I could just sit in the room, sometimes just sit in the room, just me and Toko Rinpoche and the translator, or sometimes no translator. One time I got to do acupressure on Tuko Urbaches, whole body, full treatment. It was like 1 hour. I got to press all the meridians, all the points, hot towels with plastic and rubbing down with ointment and extending his joints. It was like, I was like overloaded with energy. I can still feel how I had the good blessings and fortune to put my hands directly on to my master's body and receive his blessings. So this is the many experiences can tell you when you fully give yourself over to practice or that which brings about your spiritual and physical and emotional, psychic evolution. So start with the phrase, please, that sets the stage. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then I want to do 21 recitations, Namo Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, taking a refuge. If one does not know this, if there's anyone who is watching this who does not know it, then you can just say, I take refuge in the Lama, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. And you would just say this over and over. If that is too much, then you can just say, I take refuge in the Buddha. Namo Guru Be, 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 Namo Guru Be. So I take refuge in the Buddha. You can just say that over and over again, because the Buddha is Lama, Buddha is Buddha, Buddha is Dharma, Buddha is Sangha. Everything is contained in the essence, body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. And then as you're saying it, you should visualize the Buddha in front of you. You visualize the lineage in front of you, and having faith and devotion and the trust with commitment and conviction, then one is receiving the blessings. So Namo Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, 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 Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. So Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. So Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho, Lama Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. Lama Lakapsucho, Sengye Lakapsucho, Cho Lakapsucho, Gerun Lakapsucho. And again, as we said earlier, pause for a moment and think, oh, I am fine now. I am happy now. I am free now. I'm at peace now. I have taken refuge. That all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future, the great bodhisattvas and masters, they have taken me in. So to refuge, to take oneself in, to put oneself in. We should have that thought at this moment and rest in that. Maybe you haven't been at peace. Maybe the plight of the world has weighed heavily upon your heart. But now, stop the world and get off. Give up the attachment to the false illusion and rest. And again, breathing out. So again, in with Holiness a couple of weeks ago was talking about we're at the point where we need to restructure and retrain our emotional education, our heart, basically to move from our childish behavior, perhaps embrace our childlike qualities, and allow ourselves to open and grow emotionally. If we don't do this, then we will continue to engage in childish behaviors that only create suffering for ourselves and for others. But I found what I was looking for. The way that we cultivate compassion is called immeasurable compassion. And in fact, to be precise, there are 4 aspects of what we would in general call compassion. They are called, therefore, the 4 immeasurables. Now, normally, when we think of something that's called immeasurable, we mean immeasurably vast. Here, the primary connotation of the term is not vastness, but impartiality, as I said earlier. And the point of saying immeasurable compassion is compassion that is not going to help one person at the expense of hurting another. It is a compassion that is felt equally for all beings. We now, and probably part of how our culture, society, based on one-upmanship, I stand on the back of someone else so I can rise up without any concern of the footprint that I leave upon them. That we don't recognize and have respect for equality, regardless of who or where or how we may exist. It is this constant one-upmanship. Who is superior? Who is inferior? And how we enforce these behaviors on both sides. Those of the inferior engage in behaviors to support those who believe they are superior. And those who are superior engage in behaviors that support those who believe they are inferior. So they dance together in the same room, seemingly not knowing that they are both captives, fused together by their own deluded chains. This is how Lama talked to me. As long as you are in this categorization and a need to rise up, one way or another, you will fall down. Because eventually, those who you stand on will rise up. He was very much attuned to Western culture and how, at least I felt that he talked to me. So as you think about and go about, I know some of you talk about and write about compassion. Do the hard work as opposed to easy to care for your loved one. But can you do so for the one who you call enemy? And stop calling enemy. And really it says, what greater teacher can we have that shows us our hidden nature? So perhaps this coronavirus has been a great teacher, hasn't it? It's revealed our hidden nature, our inability to love ourselves, to be compassionate to ourselves, to care for ourselves, to not blame others for what we ourselves have created. I am talking to me, so please understand that. If it pertains to you in any way, take it with a small grain of salt, as they say. So having said that, well, knowing all of that, then what can I do? I will take personal responsibility. I will engage in making the change, starting with myself. And if making that change, starting with myself, no matter where I may be, having a belief system that it will have an effect somewhere, somehow, even though it may be unbeknownst to me. Ego wants to know. I don't need to know. I need to do by engaging with actions that are arriving from this altruistic attitude with proper motivation and proper intent that we say, which is bodhicitta, and having what I just said, immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joyousness, immeasurable equanimity. And equanimity has to go first. I'll come back to that later. In the position and the posture of bodhisattva, with conviction you say, sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. So once again, you have taken refuge, and now you have stated the bodhisattva ideal. This is a code by which we will govern ourselves. So when the Buddha speaks of the three Tripitaka, or the three baskets, there's what he taught, which is referred to as the sutras. So the sutras. Then there was a code of conduct which was put forth for those who practiced and adhered to those concepts, which was known as the Vinaya. And then there was a deeper understanding of the teachings of the Buddhas in its depth, which was referred to as the Anidhamma. So when you see this word Tripitaka, three baskets, that's what it's talking about, the sutras, the Vinaya, and Anidhamma. So we are saying all the things. So who put forth this way of study was the Buddha. Is there a code of conduct by which we can govern and adhere to? That's the Vinaya. And do we have a full and deep understanding of these various concepts? Then that is the Anidhamma. So again, we have to take and have a firm foundation. And without a firm foundation, then there's no real change in the doing of our practice. Training the mind in the four immeasurables. Regarding the training of the mind in the four immeasurable virtues, what are the four immeasurable virtues, as I just stated? Loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and impartiality or equanimity in general. It is said that one should start with loving kindness. Yet, when one practices them in that order, since one does not start with equanimity or impartiality, the practice of compassion, loving kindness, and so on becomes biased, and a flawless result is not possible. Therefore, the training of the mind begins with the practice of impartiality. And so we should remember to have this sense of impartiality, equanimity first. What is impartiality? Impartiality means to make all beings equal. I like this. And we've been talking about it in this country for so long and around the world, not just in our country. There are other places who have exact same dynamics. But impartiality means to make all beings equal by giving up hostility toward foes and attachment to friends and relatives. Now, don't mistake or misunderstand when it says, we can easily hostility toward foes. But this attachment to friends and relatives, we get a little skittish. It doesn't mean run away or love them any less or care any less or be any less responsible. But this constant attachment born out of ego-centeredness and ego cherishing, I think, clouds our heart. Thus, impartiality means to treat all sentient beings equally by making no distinction between them, such as close, distant, friend, and foe. Normally, we have strong attachments to our parents, relatives, and so on, who are on our side. And as long as something is on our side, then we want to adhere to it. Lama Kaiser remember to say, as long as the Dharma fluffs you up like a baby seal floating in the water so you don't drown. As long as it fluffs you up, then you have smiley face and gleaming eyes and everything is wonderful. But the moment it begins to go against your inner desire of your ego-centeredness, then you damn it and throw it down and say it's no good. We show unbearable hatred toward our enemy and those who are on their side. If you're on their side, I don't like you. I have been told this for sure. This mistake is due to our lack of observation. Now, this next part is if you adhere to this way of thinking. In previous lives, even our present enemy played the role of relative, showing affection, friendship, and extending beneficial treatment. In a former life, this may have been a friend. In this life, a foe. The amount of help they offered was inconceivable. Also, there are many among those that we now count as relatives who were our enemies in past lives and harmed us. As stated earlier, it is as Arya Katrayana said, which is a strange, interesting concept. Eating your father's flesh, hitting her mother. She holds the enemy born of her bad karma on her lap. The wife snaps at her husband's bones. Worldly dharma makes me laugh. It's basically trying to tell us we begin to categorize, compartmentalize those around us. I like, I don't care. Not realizing who they may have been and where. The one that you feel is smiling in your face now may have been the one who was doing you an injustice at some other time, and vice versa. So again, if you truly are going to practice in having a compassionate nature, even in the limited sense, you have to open way beyond our limitlessness or limit that comes from our small single-pointed mind that is based on conceptuality of differentiation and discrimination. Discriminate awareness that selects where it will place its compassionate nature, its love, its kindness, based on how it looks, how it treats, etc. All these things you know. So for now, we'll skip through the prayer to the Bodhisattvas because we did that earlier, and just want to restate it. We'll go through one time in Tibetan, one time in English, what Shantideva had to say, because Shantideva, he is the one who was writing the Bodhisattva, the excellent Bodhisattva way of life, and giving the instructions which he had written for himself, which became quite famous, known as the Bodhicharya Tavada. So he says, Jonam jele gele jon dejon setse jebe zon gula gumbo kanya pa jenjon chembo jige zon Dowadabda Samba years and get on la tender never jigaba tabata de kabuji zeratan zetanje pe zombe zenjet under that Sange dundu nege de zombe zendu zomge do deze nanga namba nando wa deze nego ba deze doje nego ne do wa da yourself so all phenomena arise from their causes. What is unfolding in front of our eyes is our cause. Their causes are explained by the Buddha. He's talking about karma now and the fourth enlightened thoughts. Cessation of these causes are taught thus by the great sage. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the misery, the suffering, and the causality of the various infectious diseases that brings harms to sentient beings in this world through loving kindness and compassion. It's telling us, he is telling you the great power of loving kindness and compassion. I don't think we truly believe that we have this power to change within ourselves that can change others without, through loving kindness and compassion. I hope you do. I know you do, because it is within the primordial ground of your Buddha nature. And the one who gave these type of teachings again and again and again, the great master, Sakyamuni Buddha. Tabge junze zage runjun zoge mundu donge junjumba sorge lumbo jewa jebego zage gabo jola jasalo dayata omune mune mahamuna yesoha dayata omune mune mahamuna yesoha dayata mune 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 mune mahamuna yesoha, dayata mune mune mahamuna yesoha. Now, so we only say Om mune mune mahamuna yesoha. Om mune mune mahamuna yesoha, 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 mune mune mahamuna yesoha. Zumune mune mahamuna yesoha, mune mune mahamuna yesoha, mune mune mahamuna yesoha, mune mune mahamuna yesoha, mune mune mahamuna yesoha. Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane zoa mane mane zoa mane mane Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane yazoa Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane zomane mane Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane yazoa mane mane yazoa mane mane yazoa mane mane Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa Zomane mane mahamana yazoa mane mane mahamana yazoa mane 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 mahamana yazoa. So then once again, it is a dream that we ourselves construct. Whether it has reality in the sense that we like this imperial data or concrete, prove it to me, is not the approach. Most of what you experience in your life is of the same dream-like quality that we have convinced ourselves of its reality. So in this case, we make the choice. If I'm going to dream, shouldn't I have a say-so in what that dream is? My dream is that the Buddha at this very moment is directly in front of me. I guess it was southwest Nepal at the Indian border, and happened to be in this little small town because I wasn't able to get into India, Gaelic and I. And we found this, someone took us and told us about this place where when the Buddha would go from Bodh Gaya to Nepal, that he would take this route through this particular area. And maybe Lama put it out at one time or another. Supposedly, the Buddha sat under that tree. Obviously, as you know, I made it my business to sit under that tree. And even to this day, when I sit, I look at that picture often, and I remember sitting under that tree. Oh, it was so wonderful, so peaceful. How might I always sit under that tree? So as you sit now in presence of the Buddha, in the same way he sat under that tree in Bodh Gaya, and I'm sure in many, many other places, in stillness, in deep samadhi and concentration, in compassionate and loving kind nature for all sentient beings. Visualize that you have received the blessings in the form of multicolored rays of light descending into your body, your speech, your mind, and your navel center, occurring for yourself, occurring for all other sentient beings. That they are blessed, cleansed, purified, transformed, and liberated. Then in your heart space, as we said earlier, you visualize in your heart, this crystal, if you can see. So the crystal of one's heart, radiant light, open like flower, lotus. What is it that you're most passionate about? What is it that you love? As we read early, immeasurable compassion. As soon as you conceive it, think about it. As someone just recently told me, you feel it in your heart. You feel it in your bones. A warmth comes over your body, and perhaps your hair stands up in a pleasant way. Focus your mind on that for a few moments. The thought and the feeling, as I said, the path of the head and the path of the heart, they come together in union in one lane. They move together. Let that feeling begin to radiate out into space and filling your room, filling your house, filling the whole area in which you live, filling the whole planet, the whole cosmos. Dream. Doesn't matter, real or unreal. That's not what we're focusing on. It's setting up the paradigm of an experience like a dream. In the same way, I run from the monster in the dream and the feeling that invokes. In the same way, I invoke the feeling of having been blessed by the Buddha, focusing on that which one loves and radiating it out. Directly in front of you now, look over to your right in your mind's eye. Oh, there's the one who irritates me. There is the one I call foe. There's the one I call enemy. There's the one I really don't like. No, it's also my mother, my relative, in some past life or to come. Can I have the same feeling for them? Cover them, blanket them, surround them with loving kindness and compassion. Then move to your left, and there's the individual You see them, don't really know. Like the Buddha said, what if the son of the one whom you don't know dies? How would you feel? Have the same feeling for the one you love. They're all three right there in front of you. Now they begin to multiply, filling all of space, shoulder to shoulder. They are all your relatives. You have compassion for each and every one of them. And just wait. How many thousands and millions of people will die before this concludes that have died already? Imagine, could be a little bit scary. All of that suffering that is now going, take it in to the crystal in your heart. Don't worry. And when you breathe out, the light of loving kindness and compassion flows back out to each and every one of them, healing, blessing, purifying, transforming, liberating. What if you could do that even to one person? As I said earlier, as I was thinking last night, most of my babble, I don't know, maybe in one ear, out the other. Yeah, I've heard it before, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Because I know one heart might be touched. And that one heart will be that light that will affect a universe. I believe like this, to practice Tonlin. And Tonlin is to develop loving kindness and compassion. Draw in the suffering of others and giving out your fortune, your blessing, your happiness to others. Count the outgoing breath as you breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the nose. So it is called giving and taking. Giving first. So give out first, then take in. And we begin. Now in your mind's eye, you visualize in the presence of the Buddha that all sentient beings, including oneself, have been blessed, cleansed, purified, transformed, liberated. And then the Buddha is transforming into particles of light. Again, Imagine you throw glitter into the air, multicolored, and the glitter is falling down on you. But this glitter doesn't stick on the outside. It's absorbed into the pores of the skin and fills your whole body from within. That the blessings and the essence of the Buddha from which you have never been separated. You remind yourself that you're taking again. Taking again how to receive what you already have. Recognize, or at least consider the thought and see what happens in that consideration. That one is infused with the essence of the enlightened quality knowledge of the Buddhas already at this very moment. How to invoke it, how to access it, how to make it real in that sense, so that it does elevate your consciousness, which is already evolved, that it alters your perceptions, that you begin to see with wisdom eye, and in turn, your behaviors and your realities is one of loving kindness and compassion. I hope you have some direct experience if you allow that to occur. Then breathing out, and we just dedicate the merit. Holiness is the Jowa Jowa show. Deba Danya Mida Jowa Bunzum Tumba Renis in the Bundu. Dinis and get Damba Yan, Gawaji, Nidu, Bundu Saki Garbo to June, Doman Januba. Dinis Yella show. So this statement, Deba Danya Midada, you want to practice all of the Buddhist teaching, outer or Theravada, Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. No vice is to be committed. Virtue must perfectly be practiced. Subdue entirely your thoughts. This is the doctrine of the Buddha. So you follow this way, then you've covered everything. Reading a lot and not absorbing and not bringing it into your behavior scope of being is nothing but collecting more manure. To put the thoughts in, you ingest them, you assimilate them, you integrate them, and then you live them. Otherwise, why bother? I went into the bookstore, I would go, and I still do this when I was there. I go into the bookstore and I go into the Buddhist section or those sections, and they're just filled. When I worked, filled with people looking page after page after page. I went, where are all those enlightened people? I would ask, the books are flying off the shelves and people are engaging in all types of meditative practices. Where are they? I believe now is the time for each and every one of them to rise up. I implore you, I propose to you, everyone who has any text that deals with spiritual evolution, unfoldment, find your favorite passage, read it, and then live it to its fullest for the benefit of others and yourself. So when you read, you go, this is what I will do. That's why, again, I remember I thought, oh, I will maybe go live in Ilupu. You can't even find me in Ilupu. But going into this little shop, this is just to show the scope of the power of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In this little bookshop with this restaurant, they had a section dedicated to His Holiness. And I looked through many books which I already had, and I go, oh, that looks interesting. I bought two, gave one away, and said, I'll just keep one. And then looking through things the other night, I found this, and I go, oh, this is right on point. And as I said earlier today, Guru Rinpoche is the Buddha of our times, the embodiment of all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. So we invoke Guru Rinpoche, please come and sit on the crown of my head. Bless me and all sentient beings. Om Urgen Yuji Nanzan Zambema Geza Dombo La Dazen Joji Guru Ne Bema June Zadu Gudu Gundo Mapu Gege Zadu Dadu Junji Loje Zadu Guru Bema Zidi Urgen Yuji Nanzan Zambema Geza Dombo La Dazen Joji Guru Ne Bema June Zadu Gudu Gundo Mapu Gege Zadu Dadu Jinji Laji Zazu Guru Bema Zide Gen Yuji Nanzan Bema Geza Dongula Jazen Joji Guru Bema June Zazu Ragudu Gando Mambu Gigi Zazu Dadu Jinji Laji Zazu Guru Bema Zide. Now again we'll just do the short lineage, and as you're doing the short lineage prayer from Kondo Zongpo, Samantabhadra, all the way down to the present, we think, oh, I'm receiving the blessings from all of the past masters, which I am student to. And at some point, you will become part of the lineage. You are all part of the lineage as you invoke their blessings. Kunzun dosum gerab jira shen, Padme gerab nina zushu ya, zushu ngamra tudun taso so, tata lama nanla so wate. Omen jogi yingi boda nga, tusu songe goje gugu ge, renzen gugu gugu tunde, zoe lama namla so wate. So again, we have the thought that we have received the blessings of the lineage masters from its primordial ground all the way down to its presentness. Then we just say Oma Hung, Oma Hung, Oma Hung. They settle in. And then we take a breath in. Easy way, breathe out again. Breathe in. Release out. Breathe in. And releasing out, and then we invoke the deity, Drupna Randro, Chenrezig, please come and be before me. Vadra Sama Ya Za Za. Doji Jinji Dolaze Drupna Rando Las Hovade Jimo Dawa Jinji Jin Danjo Babe Dunra Dra Yiri Drune Dra Nendo Drune Then you invite the deity, please you sit down. Vadra Samayati Dra. So the deity sits down. So in this second session, we all become the deity because we all are the deity. And now sitting as the deity, again, you like make believe, like small child. You're dreaming, oh, now I am cowboy, now I am king, now I am queen, the children, they play like this one little commercial. I love this little commercial. This little girl, she is thinking about being on the rowing team and being the one who calls them. And she says, you can do it, come on, put your back into it harder. And what's really going on is the sink is filled up with little toy boats and it's overflowing. And the parents are wonderful. They come and just scoop her up and laugh, and they become part of her fantasy. So I love those type of commercials that shows the imaginative and creative quality of the child. We still have this also. So then now, many, there's talking of little girls and little boys, 16 of them, 8 and 8, they come in and they want to go here's some flowers, here's some fruit, here's some nice clothing, here's something to drink, and they make offerings to you as the deity. Om Badra Argam Bhatam Kupe Dupe Aloge Grande Newadi Shata Rupa Shata Jande Rasha Sheva Shedama Data Putsa Kaye. And they set them down and then they run away. Then, before we go into the recitation, again, I'm trying to, the sidebar, the sides. This is what we're doing. This is what it means. And again, I'm doing everything in a very unelaborate way. Sometimes we do make it too complex. Again, thinking about what are some of the universal truths that we can all relate to. Hopefully, we're all aware we're not corpse. That's a universal truth common to all of us. We all breathe in and we all breathe out. That's a common truth. We all want to avoid suffering and we want to embrace happiness. So we can keep going through what are some of our commonalities that bring us together and not constantly looking at the differences that separate us through our own illusions. There are 4 aspects of the presence of the mantras, which are common to all Buddhist mantra. The present of mantra as being reality. So the mantra is the manifestation of what we call reality, or the Dhammadhata in essence. So the great expanse of space, the all encompassing of that which is potential within the context of spatiality. Then it says the presence of the mantras as the nature of phenomenal appearance. So everything we see here, this is all Om Mani Padme Hum Re, Om Mani Padme Hum Re. It is the nature of whatever you see within your house, within yourself, within others. The present of the mantra as being blessing. So the mantra itself is blessing. And that's why it's so important that we use it in its context of how those blessings were bestowed. The presence of the mantra as intrinsically having a potent force. Many stories about the recitation of mantra. Maybe you use it in the time of need, in the time of joy. I know I have, and seen its benefits unfold. The first refers, reference to the essence of the mantra being primordially empty. So the mantra itself is the manifestation of emptiness. The second refers to how the various syllables of the mantra appear, even while it remains empty, empty but appearing, appearing but empty. The third refers to the Buddha's and Bodhisattva's blessings, the mantra as the essence of the deity. So even to say Om Mani Padme Hum Re is the essence of the deity, which is blessed by all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. The fourth refers to each mantra having its own specific potentialities or propensities, which are the power to accomplish whatever attainment or siddhi we desire, ordinary or supreme. So what that's telling us, the ordinary is the blessing of the body, the speech and mind, the cleansing and the purifying of obscurations, sins, developments, negative karmic action and disease. But the supreme or extraordinary is having the ability to subjugate, to subdue, to pacify, to magnetize, to multiply, and through the wrathful, enlightened energy to increase. May each of your activities in the Dharma, meaning the revealing of truth, not necessarily some ism, but in the revelation and the revealing of truth to ourselves and to others, may that increase, is what it's saying. If we recite the mantra with the realization that the wisdom deity and the syllable of the mantra are primordially indivisible. So you visualize yourself, as we have done, as Drupnarandra. Then the seed syllable, the Re, that sits upon, and I've altered this a little bit. There's a different way of doing it, but not necessarily now. So on the lotus and the sun and the moon and the Re, that Re It's not separate from your body, speech, and mind, who is the manifestation of the deity also. And it's so, if we recite the mantra with the realization that the wisdom deity and the syllable of the mantra are primordially indivisible, then with that blessings, our recitation of the mantra will result in the ability to accomplish unobstructedly both supreme and ordinary attainment. So the mantra has this power to produce results, just like a potent medicine can cure an illness. I know this for sure, having been very ill and told what to do, and I believe it was instrumental in healing. While the first two facets apply to all syllables and all mantras, the latter two are attributes unique to the mantras deriving from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. When a form body, meaning a Rupakaya, and the Rupakaya is also manifest the other three kayas, with faces and hands manifest from the Dhammakaya of the Buddha. We went through this in another session. We think of it as a deity. In just the same way, the mantra takes form out of the essence of the Dhammakaya. So it's telling us it arising from the potentiality of the vastness of the emptiness of space, and it's not separate from that space of vastness from which it has originated. And we should think of it as a deity. So the Om Mani Padme Hum Ri is the essence of the deity itself. So the sound of the mantra is the deity, and the deity is the mantra, as I was just saying. Recitation of mantra is especially powerful when we realize the triple indivisibility of the wisdom body, the mantra, and the reality of Dhammadata. So when we realize the triple indivisibility, what is that triple indivisibility? The wisdom body, that is you as the manifestation of the deity, Druk Narandro. Then there is the mantra, which is the manifestation of the deity inseparable. And the deity and the mantra arising from the reality of the potentiality within the vastness of the intrinsic emptiness of space. Three parts into one, as Rinpoche would say. So I know this is taking time, but I don't want to continue with this just babbling and doing and having no real connection, no real commitment or faith or belief or trust or conviction. Therefore, we don't realize as the great masters, because we don't have the same discipline. We don't have the same openness of heart and great compassion and kindness that they were able to exhibit, which is our hope to emulate. The mantra should flow like a river. We start with sort of sing-songy high, and then we drop down as though we're just talking into our shirt collar. I will do I'll do 500 recitations, and then we'll sit. Then we'll do another 500 recitations, we'll sit. It may be 1,000, depending on the time. First, take the moment. Visualize the deity. If you looked outside and thought, oh, then wrong. You are the deity. And even if you don't know of it and cannot see it in all of its various attributes, just having the thought, just as I am the deity. And in the heart space is the lotus and the sun and the moon disk with the Ri. Counterclockwise, Om Mani Padme Hum Ri, Om Mani Padme Hum. Moving clockwise, Om Mani Padme Hum and Ri. Radiant light, 6 rays of light go out, white, red, blue, yellow, green, black, going to each one of the realms, liberating and blessing and transforming the sentient beings of that area. We do this practice for all those who have died. We do this practice for all those who are presently suffering, for all those who are in fear, uncertainty, who at this very moment may be crying because they cannot feed their families, they have lost their jobs, they have no money, and some have maybe even no place to live. We do those for who are very sick, for those who are sick, who are our relatives and who are among us, and we do it for ourselves. And we begin. Omane beme onri, 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 omane beme. O mani beme onri, 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 o mani beme Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme. Omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane 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 beme onre. Zomane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre, omane beme onre. Omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane 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 beme honre, Zomane beme honre, omane 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 beme honre, Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. So when you're looking at the Zakli, don't be fooled and be drawn out. Oh, I'm looking at Dugnarandro across the room or just in front of me on my phone. You're looking into the mirror and you're seeing yourself. This is how I practice. Oh, I look at the Zakli or the image and I think, oh, I see myself in the mirror. I'm looking at me. So sometimes look at the Zakli and then sometimes look away. You can look into the space, but really you're looking into the space of yourself, your own heart space, the great expanse within. And you recognize the lotus, the sun, the moon, the Re, the mantra, and the radiant light that's emanating from you in all directions for the benefit of all sentient beings. Omane beme honre, 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 Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane 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 beme honre. Zomane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane beme honre, omane. Zomane beme honre, omane 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 beme honre, omane. So when you see the Ri, you're looking into your own heart. This is sitting again on the lotus and the sun and the moon. Radiant colors going out in the 10 directions. And now, as you're sitting, if you're slouching or slumping, sit up straight. Focus your mind. Come to the heart center. You feel the vibrations as you recite. Remember, from the vastness of space, the intrinsic emptiness of the primordial ground, arises the seed syllable, Ri, and it manifests in the totality of Druk Narandro, the Buddha of compassion, who is yourself. So again, if your mind has drifted off, Bring it back. Then you sit straight. Again, now my mind more like Lama. You sit straight. You sit in the proper position. The Buddha doesn't lounge, right? We lounge. So even body hurt, imagine those who have just died, the pain that they have endured, the families that have endured the loss, etc. You practice for them with commitment, with the faith, with the trust, with the love, with the kindness, and with great compassion. Imagine you feel every moment right now of those who have taken their last breath. Could be us. I'm just standing in line with a ticket, I feel. Sooner or later, they will call my number, the DMV. I hope they don't call my number. I don't want that license. Remember, don't take too serious. But we practice serious. You sit like mountain, like oak tree. And you don't lose focus in 10 directions, up, light, down, light, front, back, diagonal, right? Filling all of space, filling the whole universe. Compassionate nature. Omane Padme Hungry, 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 Omane Padme Hungry. Can you imagine sitting in front of Jata Rinpoche? I had the opportunity to sit with Jata Rinpoche many times. In his presence, you don't play around. He look at you with those eyes and just burn a hole. Lama Kaji the same way. These old masters, you sit, you don't play around. Even when we were, myself and Padma, we were at the monastery in Bundang, little monks playing with little puppets, and I can't help but be a kid. I get them in trouble. But if they aren't on point on behavior, then the monitor come along, grab them by the scruff of the neck, pick them up, take them outside. They get a beating. They come back in, sit down. They don't move. I like this way. Omane Padme Hungry, 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 Omane Padme Hungry. Zomane Padme Hungry, Omane 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 Padme. Omane Padme Hungry, 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 Omane Padme Hungry. Omane Padme Hungry, 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 Omane Padme Hungry So again, you're just resting for a moment in the continuity of what one has just done. It has the way you have been sitting, the way you have been breathing, and the way you have fashioned your thoughts in this singularity. Now for 5 minutes, we just rest in the posture of Longchenpa, the hands resting on the knees. And again, we do Jamkusho, or Jetsun Rinpoche's way. Neither looking in nor out. The heart is open like flower. Breathe gently in and out through the mouth. and rest. So now Drupnarandro is sitting in Rigpa, where all phenomena dissolves into its intrinsic essence of emptiness. Rest your mind. Ah, ah, ah. Breathing out. Again, remain in stillness. Recognize calm abiding. Recognize clarity. Recognize spatiality and luminosity. And if any of those qualities have manifested through the meditative experience, let them go. Nothing more than probably some indication that perhaps you were still. Your breath slowed down. Your mind was calm. And thus these qualities arise which were already within you. Recognize and then let them go. Go deeper. Go further. Take a breath in. And once again, visualize the deity before you. Om Mani Padme Om Re Om Bhadrasata Samaya Manobhalaya Bhadrasata Dhanova Dhamapova Sudhukaya Mapova Sudhukaya Mapova Honorata Mapova Zovaziri Mebraya Dharangama Zodame Zirim Guru Om Bhagavan Sada Dada Gata Bhagavana Nemazogan Vivona Samaya Bhagava Bhadrasata Samaya Manobhalaya Bhadrasata Dhanova Sudhukaya Sudhukaya Mapova Sudhukaya Mapova Honorata Mapova Zovaziri Mebraya Dharangama Zodame Sada Dada Gata Bhagavana Nemazogan Vivona Samaya Bhagava Bhadrasata Samaya Manobhalaya Bhadrasata Dhanova Surugaya Mabova, Surugaya Mabova, Anarada Mabova, Sedum Sedum Guru Hum Ha, Bhagavan Bhavata Gata Bhatana Nemazogan Samaya Satu Ha. So we are training. Like yesterday, I saw this, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He is putting on, he's doing teaching on the Lojong mind training. I think it's 8 verses of mind training. How we sit, how we dress, how we speak, how we move, how we think, all stem from the quality of kindness and compassion and love. So we are now at the end of the second session. The time goes so quick. Again, you assume the Bodhisattva mudra. And we now visualize all sentient beings, including ourselves, as the deity, have been blessed, purified, cleansed, transformed, transcended, and liberated. Then the outer container, all that is perceived, dissolves into the Re in our heart. It's like it's just space and time is folding in on itself, collapsing. Then the deity itself, ourselves, from the top and the bottom, we dissolve into the Re. And then the lotus dissolves into the sun, and the sun into the moon, and the moon into the Re. And the Re, in its script, dissolves into Dhammadhatu, emptiness. Ah, ah, ah. Let your hands just rest on your knees. The posture of comfort and ease. And again, gently breathing out. So you to emerge, but you emerge as the essence of the deity. You're always the deities. You're always endowed in an all-pervasive way with the qualities of the Buddha nature. It's not coming and going. It's always present. So you're still radiating the quality of loving kindness and compassion. You're still in the mind of calm abiding and clarity. In essence, you are still the deity. Go idea, drugna randro drujune, doma nanyo nyanyo pa, dene shela kyo pa sho. Then we do the prayer for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, those 4 lines. And read when what one was and comes to but and over Mala to what it and read and what and then Gazodi Jeber Gargabado and Goji Gamra and what one was and comes to but and over Malo to what it and read and what And our teacher, Lume, Gato, Tenjoji, Yumbo, Kondo, Mono, Rimboje, Jebe, Mise, Gaga, Kanda, Neda, Tendrudo, Zaten, Tembo. Om Sute, Senge, Benjenge, Gubio, Nime, Gubdula, Dembayi, Dembe, Rimba, Seven, Dengen, Dunya, Dendrin, Mise, Guga, De Todem, Gazo, Trindu. Guji, Sonam de Damja Javaye, Damje Nive, Damje, Damjin, Zengage, Najaba, Drubaye, Jepe, Soba, Druva, Druva, Sho, Jamba, Bora, Denda, Denba, Dan, Kundo, Zumbo, Danye, Deji, Daje, Guje, Dunya, the Laje, Gua de Danja, Ratu, Badan, the Meguze, Damba, Gayam, Yoa, Digi, Yoa, the Jumalo, Janja, Dundun, Dunjus, not Jumpa, can be Bagula, Measure, and disengage, which it and you like them, don't touch your baggy. Timber in the peta, she to dance a bed and jail on Jemba. Jinning so made a maid and bazet, the bazet to the some good days and good jens, so Jordan, Baje, Maki, Banam, Guji, Banamba, Mebaye, Kone, Kondu, Babos, or Gazo, Daye, don't wait on do Jim, not Rabe, but make on Sudan. Tumbaranda Tashi, Da Besho, Tayata, Unga de Gate, Peragate, Pereson Gate, put it so hard. Tayata, Unga de Gate, Peragate, Pereson Gate, put it so hard. Tayata, Unga de Gate, Peragate, Pereson Gate, put it so hard. So, not to dwell on the past, not to fantasize and project into the future with unrealistic concepts and feelings and thoughts. And even in the present, by commenting, we separate ourselves from the direct experience thereof, even though that is our tendency to do so, but we try to recognize it. To not fabricate or cling or alter or change or grasp or fixate upon whatever arises, dwell, and ceases. Death is very real now. Contemplate death. It's not something you read in Consolama Shillong or whatever book it may be that says, contemplate impermanence in death. It's right at our doorstep, in our hands, in our breath, what we touch, who we come in contact with. This has to arise some fear. Look deeply into that. Make it your friend. You might still worry about it, but not obsessively. It's going to happen anyway. So meditate upon impermanence and death. It's strange to say joyously, joyously. But most important, as we finish this session, don't gossip. Be kind. Have compassion, and love, and respect for yourself. Maybe you need to call someone, reach out to someone. When you take a walk, look out, take in the nature, become part of the nature, and be at peace. So as we end this session, may you all be blessed with loving kindness, or the blessings of loving kindness and compassion. The blessings of the infinite enlightened Buddhas and Guru Rinpoche throughout the totality of the cosmos. May they fuse into your bones and radiate out for the benefit of others this very moment. We'll convene again at the 7 o'clock. So